Hello and welcome to After the Movies, the show where we talk about movies after you've seen that they're movie. I am Luke.
And I am Jonathan.
And we are today talking about the movie Slow West.
Or Slow West, if you prefer.
So, I'm just going to go right out here and say this. This movie, for me, felt like a Coen Brothers movie if the Coen Brothers were like 15 trying to make a movie in high school. And trying being the operative word. And here's the really bad part is that I don't even like the Coen Brothers movies. So the movie is a bunch of moments where you suddenly get a shot of a random person and they're going to do something somewhat random, say some really crappy dialogue, and then we're going to cut somewhere else to another weird character. And that's the movie for 82 minutes, which felt a whole lot longer. Jonathan, what is your take on this film?
I did not feel that way about this movie. Now, I am not going to go ahead and say this movie is like fantastic or anything because it's freaking weird. And I mean, you should definitely know that. I would hope you know that before you go in because this movie is not your typical Western by any stretch of the imagination. That being said, it kind of has some funny dark comedies for me. I kind of enjoy some of the pacing and some of the vibes of the story. And by the story, I mean really just the cinematography. I think the cinematography is really actually quite nice in places. Not the whole way through, but there's actually some really beautiful locations and shots, I think.
Okay, so I'll give you that there's locations because if you go into nature, like there's good-looking things in nature. So
but you have to find the right vantage point to get a good shot. In nature.
Okay, so can you expound upon what are the shots that you?
And the entire let's just start with the end since the thing is fresh. By the way, we just watched this for just now for the first time. Okay, so you should know that we do not have like strong feelings on this movie from long ago.
No.
We just watched this movie.
Yeah.
And we're trying
This isn't PTSD coming back for me. This is like, it just happened.
It's just happened.
The shock is still like...
The PTSD is yet to happen in other episodes of After the Movies. Stay tuned to enjoy those episodes. Anyway.
We are never watching a Western again. No, I'll be okay. I'll be okay.
No, the entire end sequence in that house and out of the forest, like, I love wherever they were. That was a beautiful place, and I love the color correction. I like the yellow to the blue, and then of course the mountains in the background even had a little bit of green on it. I don't know. I enjoyed all those shots. I enjoyed the way they shot the end of that movie too.
Okay, so speaking of the ending location, I was thinking the entire time, why did anyone let them set up a fake house in the middle of this field and shoot a movie here? And why did they spend the money to do so? That was the entire. I was like, wow.
When were you like for sure done with this movie? When did it happen? When was it like, okay, F this movie? When was that moment? Because that's going to be interesting.
Well, it started out badly, and then I was like, well, maybe there'll be something about it, because this movie is rated rather highly on the internet. Now, not that that means anything, because I disagree with some movies that are very highly rated, but still, like, I'm like, okay, maybe it just has a little trouble getting started. Like, maybe this character and the bad writing and the stupidity of this entire thing, like, maybe that's going to become something. And it didn't. It stayed exactly where it was the entire movie on my scale. Like you know, the movie starts, and then I'm like, okay, well, you know, and it never really, like, plummeted. Okay, there were a couple moments that were just really bad. But, like, aside from that, it kind of just stayed really just a bad movie the entire time. And so I think the part that just finally just was like, wow, I just can't even, was all the bad dialogue and the sequence where... Actually, it happened over and over again. So it always happened. But the sequence where he gets robbed by the guy who pretends to be an author, and then, you know, he's gone, and so now he's just there in his, like, you know, long underwear and a blanket, and then the guy rides up with the horse. And I was just like, I just don't care. And then the fact that the kid is then like, did you kill him? And he's like, why would I no need? And it's like, well, of course not. So shut up. Like, stop. It was so many bad lines where it was like, that was unnecessary. Do you love her? Who? The other girl in this movie? Like, the other girl? Like, why do you even ask that question? And I get, like, if this was a CinemaSins movie, this would be like a moment where he's like, hey, this is the pronoun game. But the pronoun, like, it's not even a question, because who is the her? It's the only freaking girl in the movie! Except for the one who, like, randomly was in the other camp, and then suddenly he suddenly realizes that he's in the wrong camp because suddenly there's 5 people and the 2 children when he used to be with just 1. Like, wow, that took him a long time. I get that you were drinking absinthe, but whatever, dude! Okay, so just the entire movie. That was my experience the entire movie.
Did you feel like you were drinking absinthe the entire movie? Was that?
I've actually had absinthe, like a sip of it, and it tastes like nail polish remover, like all other alcohol. It's absolutely disgusting. So like it just was terrible. Yes, so it felt like I was drinking absinthe. It was horrible. It was just terrible. So yeah, I'm just gonna say that over and over. It was terrible. So please enlighten me as to why I shouldn't.
Look, I'm not here to try to convince you that this movie is fantastic. That is not what I'm here to do. Okay?
Yeah, not gonna happen.
All I'm gonna say is that for me, when I watch this movie, it is a little slow, and there are definitely like plenty of weird things where I'm like, I don't see the point of this. That is definitely a critique I have of this movie. It's like, what is the point of this?
Yeah.
Why show me this? Why do this?
Right, for 82 minutes. Yeah.
Once, and that's the thing. I think, I mean, there is a narrative. I absolutely believe there's a narrative. There's absolutely a plot. Like, he's trying to get from A to B, and he will eventually get there. And there's going to be a resolution, whether you like the resolution or not. Like,
sure,
all that happens. So it's not like a, I don't know, 60s French New Wave film that I had to watch in film school that would piss me off.
Sure, fair. There is a story. He goes on a literal journey and doesn't change as a character at all.
No, he doesn't change. That's true.
Even after killing a woman and kind of freaking out about that.
It's kind of a back to one, though, in a sense. Although he just doesn't get to survive anymore. So the story... The first thing that, like, so in his past, right,
yep.
he was all about the girl.
It's all about the girl.
And she's like, I think if you was a little brother, right? And he's like, oh, you don't mean that, because we're gonna get married and be awesome.
And actually, that was good casting. Although I was like, why is he like macking on this girl who's like old enough to be his mom? Like, that was the thought that I had. Like the hand shot, like her hand is significantly larger than his hand because he's significantly younger than she is. Like, she is just a much older person than he is as an actor, I'm pretty sure. Although IMDb might prove me wrong, but that was my thought the entire time.
Although I did not get that vibe.
Really? I got that vibe. So then when she's like, you're a younger brother, I was like, yeah, because she's like 18 and you're like 12.
Maybe. He is definitely, he looks young. He's definitely a boy.
Okay,
that's the whole thing. He's a boy.
And then we have the shaving scene, right? Why? He doesn't need to shave because then he's like, you're done, and he wipes it up. No reason for that scene whatsoever. None.
That was just an excuse for them to have dialogue about stuff.
And I hate excuses to have dialogue about stuff because that... And okay, speaking of that, let's talk about the voiceover throughout the entire movie because we can't actually visually tell this story. We just have to sit here and yammer on. In fact, we have a shot where he stops and listens to these 3 random people singing in the middle of nowhere. Why? Because there are 3 random people who need to be singing in the middle of nowhere so that our character, in typical Coen fashion, can walk up and listen to them while the other guy's like, here, you know, like, there's no point to listen to these people, and you're like, as the audience member, of course not, because they're totally immaterial to this movie, except for to show some kind of character development of your character. So he stops and listens, and then he happens to also speak French, which is great for no reason at all, because it doesn't matter to the story, and then he rides off, and because that doesn't communicate anything to the audience, because it's completely meaningless, we have to then have a voiceover line of dialogue. He was like someone like no one else, and he like saw the world in like a different way.
This is true. That was bad.
It was terrible.
That was bad.
Okay, so that kind of stuff.
Yes,
82 minutes of that.
I will absolutely grant you. There's plenty of that in this movie. Like, there's plenty of weird, nonsensical, we don't need it stuff happening in this movie. it's got style over substance, I think, going on
Absolutely.
for sure in this movie.
Yep. Coen Brothers.
Now, the thing about style over substance is, if you like the style, whatever the movie chooses,
Totally.
you probably will buy into something, even if you know the substance is like there is no substance or it's
Right.
they're stupid,
Right.
because you like the style, and there's a place for that.
Which is why people like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? They love the music. They love, kind of the weirdness of it all. And since I don't like that style of music at all, that movie just drives me absolutely bonkers. And so similarly here, if you're enjoying this, so talk about the style and why you like it.
I mean, that's the thing. I'm not. I look like I love this movie because you hate this movie, and it's so apparent. But I do not love this movie.
I thought I was being so subdued.
No, see, I'm not, and that's probably the way I would say it is. There are parts of this movie I like. There are parts of the thing
Yeah.
that I think are pretty enjoyable in a weird way
Totally.
that I haven't experienced before. But it's mainly that I don't hate the movie. That's
Right.
really what's going on here. It's kind of okay, I probably don't need to see that again.
Okay, so let's talk rather let's talk about those moments, those things that you enjoy, because
Okay.
yeah,
This is a quirky movie, and it's got some quirky, dark, black humor in places. It's either trying to be serious and dark, and it's a little too much so,
right,
or it's black comedy, and it's intentionally trying to be a little too much so that it's kind of funny, and it's a little
Right.
bit more. And I get the vibe, personally, I felt a little bit more like a black comedy than I did a trying too hard to be serious. Because if it is trying too hard to be serious, then the whole movie
they failed.
falls flat, right?
Okay,
So
yeah,
there are funny things like it's just got this nature of like the flashback with Rose's father killing the Lord, which I just thought it was kind of funny, but it was also kind of like the you're right, it does have an essence of like Coen Brothers all over it, where it's
Yep.
like, and then this crazy thing happened that could possibly happen, but is totally and utterly feeling random. Although that's probably something that's happened in the history of the world. That's probably happened before. And I mean, he's like, don't touch my daughter, and just pushes a guy. The guy falls backwards onto a rock, which splits his head open, and he dies. And I'm like, that's kind of humorous because it's so like random, but it's dark, and it's like I could buy in that's probably like that could probably happen. Now, is that going to happen? No, that's not the probability, but that is a possibility in the world of the movie. How everything is just kind of like weird and like bad things happen, and then just kind of the randomness of it. That's the world they're creating for me. So when that kind of thing happens, I'm like, okay, so another dark random thing happens. The people stealing stuff. There's legitimacy to it in the sense of in the world that we know, people steal things. You would have a need for that. I could see that happening, but it's just got the vibe of the kind of random, weird, crazy things people do in different moments throughout this movie. Now, when it starts to get really overboard is when I start to really enjoy myself and laugh. When we have things like
Okay, before you jump to that, hold that real quick. Okay, the death scene for me, and I think it was because of the way that it was cut. Like you got the sequence where like he slaps her and it's like, oh my goodness, hey, don't slap my daughter, push. And then like, oh Rose, are you okay? Because I care about you. Turn to look, and he's dead. And it felt to me like it was World War Z all over again, where it's like, hey, you gotta be careful with your gun, doctor, because you don't know how to use a gun. And then he slips and falls and is dead.
But isn't the rule always you can get away with things if they're bad for your characters, if they're like the happenstance?
Yeah,
stuff?
the ex machina can work as long as it's working against you.
Against you or
Sure,
for.
but like like in a movie like World War Z, where it's like zombies are going to get you, you slip and die.
I kind of loved that in World War Z, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, see,
I thought it was
that's
hilarious.
Why. Okay, see, that's
because,
why. See, that's the difference.
Because it was not expected. It is absolutely random, but I was like, this is the kind of thing that I believe absolutely would happen. You get a guy who doesn't know what he's doing. You give him a gun, and exactly when you need him to do something right, and you need to make sure you're silent, everything goes wrong. He slips, he falls, he kills himself, and the zombies, like, that cracked me up. Like, it's absolutely random. I absolutely give you that. And if you're like, well, that was stupid, I understand. You're used to the more traditional, like, intentional fare, and I respect that, and I love those kinds of movies.
Yep.
Like, that's my mainstay. But there are times where I love a movie that has the guts to kind of be like, and random ass thing happens, and it's the worst thing ever. And I'm like, that's kind of funny.
Okay, so that's why you enjoyed that scene, because it was that scene again for me in
But
this
it's
movie.
also the wide shot, like the way they cut it. But it's also a wide. Like what comedy lives in the wide, right? The whole thing is they're having this confrontation outside. I don't even see the face of this guy.
Right, it's like way away. Yeah.
We're way away, and so it's just like it's a little shove, right? And that's the other thing. The
Yep.
wide shot shows you how limited the action is.
Yep.
It's just a shove. And then we cut to a close up, and it's like, bam! There's blood on the rock because he's dead, and you're like, what?
Yeah, and for me, I was like, so you were like, what? And I'm like, what?
I mean, and I don't know. It might be
Disappoint.
moods,
Okay,
it might
yeah,
be expectations. I don't know.
Okay.
I totally understand where you're coming from.
Sure.
I've probably been there before on multiple movies, but for some reason,
This one just struck your funny bone.
in different places,
Yeah,
not
fair
the whole
enough.
way through.
Right,
There are
totally.
plenty of moments where I'm like, what are we doing?
Right.
Slow West just got weird. Like, it's not Slow West, it's just weird.
Weird West.
Weird West, man. What the hell is happening?
Okay, so sorry, I derailed you.
So so the moment that had me laughing out loud, for sure, the hardest, was because the whole thing is this kid, this boy, likes this girl. He's traveling across the world.
Yep.
To be with
Literally.
her. And from the beginning, you're kind of like, he loves this girl. So I don't know, as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, I kind of go in there, I'm like, I assume the reason he is acting this way is because there's actually like a Romeo Juliet situation or something going here. There's like a true love thing. And then early on, they start showing you flashbacks, and you start
And they're like,
realizing
no.
there's no way. There's no.
No, she's his mom basically, and she hates him except for as like someone to play games with. So
She's his younger. He's been friend zoned. That's
Friend-zoned.
That's how I
True.
felt. It was like he's been friend zoned.
but he's
can't
so
get over it.
stupid he doesn't recognize that he's been friend
He's
zoned.
stubborn, right? He's absolutely stubborn. He
Okay.
won't let it go. He's like, no, I want.
Yeah, I want this girl.
And his desire for her is the thing that screws her over in the beginning,
Yes,
right?
True
and
that.
so that's why I made the back to one. So at the
Right,
end,
okay.
his desire for her also screws her over again, except that
Now it screws him over.
he's able to, in some little way, right, with the gun, which, by the way, yes, there's no moment to show her reloading, which then suggests, and in that kind of movie where you've got 6 shooters and stuff, reloading's a big deal because
They even showed her popping out all the bullets before.
right, they spent time showing you how much she does not have ammo for this gun.
Right, this
and
gun
then
is not
suddenly it
loaded.
had ammo. Sorry, that's jumping to the end. But that, again, I get that. Like, I understand
Yep.
that critique. But there's a little way for him to kind of, in a moment, she still cares about him, and he's idealistically going way beyond what she's doing for him. But he's able to kind of save her, take care of her in this one little moment, and then die. And it's not a character change. It's a back to one moment. It's we're all the character has not changed. He's back to one. He's actually delusional, and he's gone now. Which again is why, in my mind, this is a dark comedy.
Sure.
This is all about this kid. True, like in his mind, he is this hero
Yep.
going to save the girl, and in a way, in a morality tale kind of way. I'm like, I hope I never get that delusional about anything ever, because it's a weak spot, right?
Yeah.
I could see myself getting to a place
Totally.
where I desire this thing, or I want to be with this person, and I'm not thinking about it
This
right.
girl's beautiful. Yep.
And meanwhile, Michael Fassbender's like, he's the quote unquote the real hero, except that he's not able to be a hero because he's been neutered by the end of the movie, right?
Right.
His whole character is like, I can't really do anything. I can do things, but I can't really do anything. And the question is, will he be a good guy or a bad guy?
Right.
And so he decides to be a good guy, but at the same time,
He doesn't have a gun.
he doesn't have the ability to do anything action movie wise, right? He can't
Right.
take action, and in movies especially, where the medium's about watching people take actions,
True.
he's neutered. He can't do anything.
He's sitting there, shot twice,
Which I
without
thought
a
was
gun.
funny too.
Yeah.
I thought.
Okay, see, and that's the thing. You thought that was funny, and I was just like, next time get further around the house.
That's what I thought was funny. I was like,
Before
did you
you.
not think they were going to shoot at the house that? Anyway, I thought it was.
Oh, kill the house!
Yeah.
You laughed, and I was like, I thought you were laughing because I was like, yeah, that's a really stupid line.
It is a stupid line, and it also made me laugh.
And then okay, and then that's where like you cut like, and they just kept cutting back to the shot, which I don't know, maybe that's another thing for me where I'm just like, get it, I got the point. Like he's packing up his stuff, he's doing that, he's walking. I get it. Let's move on. But like the guy's like ducking in the grass, popping up, shooting, ducking in the grass, and so it's like duck hunt for like 5 minutes in an 82-minute film, like boop.
You know what this reminds me of? I may be crucified for this reference because it is very Coen-esque, okay? And that's
Okay.
I think it's a good comparison to the style of this movie. but in a way, the comedy, especially at the end when there's a lot of action happening, it's
Uh-huh.
not slow, which
Right.
is very Cohen is very slow, and Cohen does have those moments too. Where it's
Right.
like, anyway, it kind of reminded me of like Wes Anderson movies, and in
Yep.
particular, there's little sections. So like
Yep.
in the Grand Budapest Hotel, there's an escape sequence,
Okay.
and then Royal Tenenbaums. There's like it's always like some sequence of action, right?
Mhm.
And he's got this way of being kind of wide shots, matter of fact, really fast.
Yep.
Things happen, and they're kind of crazy and random. And that was the same way I felt about the end of
Yep,
this movie,
totally.
where it was kind of wide.
Yep.
Lots of crazy things happening. Now they did play it a little bit more serious at the end in moment. Like they had the shots and things they chose.
Like he's hammering the
Well, he's trying to build tension, and the thing is, if you care a lot, I know you did. I know you were in.
Oh yeah.
You were worried.
Sold. Like I cared about these characters
If you
so much.
cared, tension was built. Now, I have a soul still, so I was concerned about the man being shot.
I don't
even
know what's
though-
wrong with this guy.
I know.
Souls.
So I was like, tension. Okay, yeah, I don't want to be shot. He's going to get shot. I know cynically that that's totally what's going to happen.
He's
but
totally gonna get shot,
he's
and
totally
that's where
gonna
I'm
get
just
shot.
like, don't care, just get to the point. Holy crap! Especially when you're like, okay, and like just that. Granted, that character was funny, but then I felt like I was in Trigun. You know, like I'm gonna pretend to be, I'm the minister, and then I'm going to, instead of just kill you all right now because that would be stupid easy, I'm going to like go as far away from the house as possible, get out my uber long rifle with my sight on it, and then I'm gonna be like, oh, should I kill you now? No, you're walking. Okay, I'm gonna kill that. Oh no, she's still in the frame. Okay, let's go back and then shoot. And I'm just like, stop. Just
It's like the guy who played Sniper Elite a little too much. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. There you go.
He did play a little. I was saying that's the other. Okay, I've been jumping around a lot.
Sorry.
Let's go back to the beginning. I said there's something that made me laugh really, really hard.
Yes.
What that was is the moment where Jay. Well, first of all, Jay walks into the room, and she shoots him.
Which is great.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that's
that was
great.
hilarious.
Do it.
That was such like you talk about like irony or poetic justice or any of those kinds of things. It's like yeah, okay, that's funny.
Okay, and then I love the fact that like she's so in survival mode that she doesn't even know who it is. Like she has no understanding of who she just shot. She's just like, person coming in, shot. Who else do I need to kill? And that is great. That was a great moment.
But get this, okay? So we get a little scene before then of her and the Indian, her father,
Yep.
right? And the Indian guy, like, there's an immediate sense, like just the way she looks at himself,
Yep.
of like she likes this guy,
Totally.
and he's there because of her, right?
Right.
You
And
totally
he's-
get that.
And he's old enough to be Jay's dad too. Yeah. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Anyway, point being that again, and I think that's also good acting and good filmmaking.
Mhm.
Even if you don't like the movie,
Mhm.
within a matter of one scene, we know
Mhm.
exactly what's going on,
Mhm.
right? We know exactly who these people are, what's going on. Anyway, so the Indian comes back from having like killed. Like that's the other thing. The Indian's like being is pretty much BA in this house for a good 5 minutes. He is the one who essentially makes it possible for her to survive. He saves her. Okay, now. He doesn't have any bullets left, so Jay gets shot. Jay slumps down and is like bleeding out and is like, oh my gosh, really? Like I come in the door, I get shot? And I'm like, yeah, wow, okay. The Indian comes in, right? The rival to him comes in, puts his hand in Jay's blood, uses it to wipe his face to make the Indian thing going on, gets his bows and arrows, goes and kisses the girl, like, I'm gonna save you and I love you, I can't be with you, right? And then, when he sees the Indian kiss the girl, a stray bullet, which we've established is breaking everything in the house, a stray bullet breaks Salt above him. So Salt literally pours into his wound. And it's such an obvious, blatant, stupid metaphor. And I laughed so hard. It just cracked me up. I was like, yes, pour the salt in the wound. I get it. I like it. I don't know why. But it hit the funny bone for me, and I laughed hysterically.
Okay, so not only do I not have a soul, which is true, but I also
I didn't say.
No, that's why I said it. I also just like stuff like okay, I hate things that are too on the nose,
Yes.
and often when something is really, really on the nose, I don't get it at all.
To me, it was like it's like the artsy dark humor version of slapstick comedy, is what that was.
It didn't get like the thing was I was like, why did you focus on a thing of salt and then blow it up and now he has it on him? I'm like, do not care at all, and so therefore like I did not catch the funny. I didn't catch the metaphor. I didn't catch that that was a thing. I was just like, this is stupid. But that's because I was already in like, wow, everything's blowing up in this house because they're killing the house. I'm just so done. I'm so done by that point in time. And okay, so speaking of things blowing up in the house, the anachronisms in this movie, which probably were there for the funny, like to be humorous, like they were just bothering me the entire movie. I'm glad he had square nails. At least he had freaking square nails when he's putting together. But like everything else in the movie, it's like, okay, a little shop in the middle of nowhere is not going to have glass panes that you can see through in 1872?
1870.
1870? Okay, I also looked up how much $2,000 was in like $26,000. Why? Because somebody killed somebody? Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes none of this made any sense at all. Maybe it was 46. It was a lot of money, and so the whole thing it just doesn't fit together.
Your first problem is you're thinking about this Western as if it's trying to be realistic. And
right.
If that was the filmmaker's intent, fail. Yeah. Absolute fail.
Which is where I was. My headspace was there the entire time.
I do not believe that was the case in this movie.
Right.
There's too many gags. The moment so they get a rope.
Yeah.
They have now. Yep. I only saw this one other time in the movies, which is Open Range. The idea of like the water being a big deal and a big problem because you don't have proper irrigation or drains or anything. You're in the wild, so you gotta like dig a hole around you and put a little tarp up and wait it out for a storm. And they wake up in a storm and it's a big deal, right? Because everything's drenched, the guns are useless, everything's screwed up,
and everything's getting washed away, including your book.
So. They then go and they're like, well, we have, Jay has this brilliant moment of let's take this rope and make it a clothesline between the two horses, which was kind of just goofy and funny. It's like, okay, so now they're like friends, and we know they're friends because visually they're connected by a rope that has their clothes on it.
Yep. Don't care.
So then later, right? And this is the other thing I didn't buy. So like. Again, it's just gags and stuff, but they go into like the haunted forest.
Yep.
Their clothes are obviously dry at this point.
Yep.
And they don't take the rope off. They get off their horses, chat about how, hey, I was actually going to kill your girlfriend and hit her father, but now I'm going to tell you about it because I have a soul.
Yep.
Which, again, Michael Fassbender is kind of... It feels more like Jay is the catalyst character and Michael Fassbender is the actual main character.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, he's going through a change moment, and Jay, they don't ever address the rope, and they go into the woods.
Yep.
Now, the reason I bought the rope thing, at least a little bit, was they're in the plains.
Sure.
It makes sense. Fine. Whatever.
Yep.
Take your time.
Yep.
Have that space. They go into the woods, the thick woods. They're going to get stuck all over the place. There's no point to have that, but they kept it there. And why did the filmmaker keep it there? Because people go in these woods and they don't come out. Why? Because apparently there's Indians with centipedes like coming down their face. They're going to shoot you with bows and arrows, which, again, totally random. He stops an arrow with his hand.
That cool.
And I was laughing because it's so, again, wide shots.
Yep.
So random.
Yep.
And even Michael Fassbender's like, that's an arrow. That's crazy, man. It's like
that was weird.
And then these two Indians get in the horses, both their horses, to ride away quickly so that they can steal their stuff or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the rope that's what's connecting the two horses is still on there. And the Indians apparently had no idea.
Yep. Because why would anyone do that? That's something so stupid.
Now that I do buy, right?
Yeah,
like, why would you do that?
Yep.
So they're riding, and it's the classic, like, it gets stuck on a tree, the horses get stopped, and the Indians go flying, and then the guy with the bow runs away.
Because he's like, this is really powerful voodoo.
Totally slapstick comedy.
Totally slapstick.
And I bought it. I know it's stupid. I get it. Like, this movie, like, you could say this movie's really stupid, but it's kind of just like a dark humor, artsy, slapstick comedy. That's all it is.
Yeah, and if I was laughing, and if I laughed at the jokes, I think I would be in your camp. I'd be like, that was really not a very good movie, but that was pretty funny. Like, there were some funny moments, there was some weird stuff, that was pretty great. But for me, I was just like...
I know you were.
Yeah.
I understand, man.
Okay.
But... So I guess at the end of the day, if you there's something valuable in this, I think. I think there are moments and there are ways to do things. At least there's ways to learn not to do things, right?
Sure,
so like
absolutely.
If you're trying to make a serious Western,
don't do this.
Don't do slow West. Like don't take its cues. It's got moments of tension. I think earlier on, like especially the now anachronisms aside, but the little shop they go to
Mhm.
and then robbery, like
Yep.
that's a classic Coen Brothers,
Yep.
Tarantino, like
Yep.
that's a classic tension setup.
Yep.
And of course gut heart wrenching thing of like, and they had kids, by the way. Like, did you not like the visual? Not just make
Yep.
you think it, but like show you they have kids outside.
And they actually showed that well. Like the door punches open and then it's just boom, and they actually did a good job with that.
And they even have Michael Fassbender saying like, breathe, stop, breathe in, breathe out, and he's
Yep.
saying it not to the woman. Like you think at first he's trying to tell the woman to calm down.
Mhm.
Maybe he is trying to tell her to calm
Yep.
down at first, but really it's about Jay behind her and getting him to breathe and get the guts to shoot her so that the Michael Fassbender will survive. That's what's going on there. Now, is it the only option to deal with it? No. In fact, in my mind, I was a little disturbed because I'm like, you've got to be able, like, even the boy should be able to, with the little pea shooter she has, it has at least maybe one more shot max.
Maybe because it's a 2-barrel and she already.
He should be able to, like, wrestle her to the ground without anyone getting shot. He
Well,
should be able
especially
to,
because he already took the gun from. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
he should be able to do that.
Sure.
Like, someone should be able to do that. There's no need for her to die.
But
But-
no, there is a need for her to die so that the kids can be kidless, so that when we finally get to Rose at the end, the kids can be.
But
with
that's the kind of thing that annoys me, and this will happen in a far more serious, in movies that are taken far more serious than
Yes.
this will, and that is that kind of thing happening.
Yep.
Why did you have to kill that person? Why? And it could be a character decision. It could
Yep.
be, but he's a boy. Like, why would that be his first impulse to shoot her?
Yeah.
Of course,
It
he
does-
is
it doesn't
stupid,
fit.
right? Like he
Yeah.
is pretty stupid. We
But it
think
doesn't.
that-
But doesn't fit with his character ethos at all, except for that he's dumb. Well, great.
couldn't there be another dumb way for him to go about it?
Seriously. In
And-
fact, him blundering it so that she turns around so that she can get jumped by whatever his name is and stabbed by
But
his.
it's all to prove the point that the world's like a nihilistic, terrible place, and that everyone's
Which is
evil. And,
True. True. That they say that over and over again because they can't seem to like get you to feel.
And
it.
they do it with the guy who's all nice, right? Like the guy
Yep.
writing the book, like,
Yep.
hey, come, have a blanket, spend the night.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that the world sucks. I'm going to leave
Right.
you, like, screwed in the morning, by the
Yep.
way.
With a fresh egg, which I was like, "Ugh, I have chickens. They don't fit in that little stupid space. And yeah, I mean, it is a good gag though when it's still a totally raw egg. Like good gag, guys, but like, don't care.
So, I mean, we're jumping all over the place.
Yeah, we
and this movie is very... It
Random.
feels random.
Yep.
But there's still enough narrative structure for you to
Totally.
keep along. So it's not
Well,
like...
he's heading west.
Right,
Like,
he's-
there's no other narrative necessary. Okay.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
certainly, this movie is certainly not mainstream. If you were expecting a mainstream movie,
It wasn't.
I'm sorry. Michael Fassbender as Magneto is a different movie. Go get that. Okay, that is not this movie. All
True.
right. So, but there are some I think the cinematography. I like all the wide open spaces. I think is what it is. Every time they're in a big wide open space with like some very specific thing in the center, like.
Right.
The guys, like the horse, the camp,
Yep.
like a campground and the mountains
Yep.
and sky. I'm like,
Yeah.
beautiful, well shot, like just
Sure.
looks good.
Yep.
Or him walking and and they're following him. I kind of
Mhm.
liked it, and that there's something about the way they did that where it wasn't quite right motion or something,
Mhm.
but I think it added effect where it was
Yeah.
like it was kind of the horizon and him were kind of mismatched, which made anyway. There's these
Mhm.
visual things that are really good. There are these. If you like black humor, if you like slapstick black humor,
Yeah,
then
if
and
you
random-
like black humor, you won't enjoy this movie. But if you like slapstick black humor, I think you'll get it.
Yeah, it's a different form, and I don't know. There's something about it. There are places and things that I think work well, and there's good craft and some scenes of tension building and or communicating a lot really quickly without saying much of anything.
Mm-hmm.
There are moments where that works really well, but
Mhm.
it does not save the movie or make it a wholly different movie. It's a very strange movie, but man, I don't know. It just hit my funny bone in a few places. That's all. That's really all it is. A few funny bone moments, some good cinematography, and I'm not watching that movie again. I might watch scenes again,
Sure.
but I'm not watching that movie again. Not for at least a long time. So long enough for me to have forgotten how much I don't care about that movie. For me to watch it and be like, oh, I really don't care about this movie.
Yeah.
So that's my feeling with Slow West.
Okay. And I'm gonna stick with Coen Brothers as high schoolers making a movie.
It is surprising having you brought up the Rotten Tomatoes thing. We looked at the
Mhm.
reviews, just a few,
Yeah.
the one-liners like everyone does.
Yep. Those are the best.
Ambitious, great film project for a first-time director. Like, I mean, I get it because my first film was
Not bad.
crap. I mean,
yeah.
it didn't
That's
look
fair.
that good.
That's fair. Mm-hmm.
Probably didn't have as much of a cohesive story, but at the same time, that's a weird movie to be getting such high praise. But then again,
You can't account for
You
taste.
can't account for the critics and what they want, and they always want something different. And the Academy's stupid, and I never trust the Academy. And like anybody really, all the high authorities in film, you and I generally disagree with
Yeah,
on the most part.
yeah. Although we have had requests to actually go through the nominated films, so I think we're going to do that this year. Really hope to. Looking
And
forward to that.
I reserve the right as a human being to say F a movie and not go see it if I think it's going to be absolute crap. So
Fair enough.
well, we might check some nominees.
Yeah, it might be good. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us for this episode of After the Movies. Hopefully, you got something from the world building or not story or there's humor. There's humor.
Thanks for watching, guys.
We'll see you later. Bye.